So I'm going to walk you through the technical setup for pressure project animating the body. Um, so here in this assignment you're going to be coding in P5.js and animating some input data coming in from a connect. Remember, you need to zip your files here and submit them as a .zip. That's going to contain a 30-second interaction screen record video that you can take using QuickTime. In fact, I'm using that right now. The little icon down here looks like this, and this is what it looks like when it's recording. You also need to include your sketch.js file where all of your original code is going to be. We'll talk about grading matters in class. I just want to use this video to get you all to the starting point here. So of course, you're going to need a Microsoft Connect. I'm going to recommend that you just go ahead and get one of those from the equipment pool because we know all of those work. If you have one at home, that's fine too. You can try that. Okay, so, and again, I think actually this is going to work best with Macintosh. It probably works with Windows as well. And I tried it on Linux the other day and it was working okay. But for the sake of this assignment, if you're having any problems, just make sure you're using Mac. All right, so first steps to getting connect data into P5.js. I've tried to lay this out as clear as possible. So first thing we need to do is install this library by Gene Kogan. And so if I open this up here, I'm going to scroll down. It's a website called GitHub, which is a place where software developers and artists and other sorts of people working with code can share their material with others. If I just go down to the README here, it's going to say very clearly what the setup is, okay? So the first thing it's going to ask me to do is install Node. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this here. And I'm going to install this. I'm going to take this recommended for most users. That's fine. I'm going to hit continue, continue, agree. And I'm on a student computer here from DC. So this is going to work fine for those computers. So if you're having trouble with your own machine, it's not really within the scope for us to troubleshoot that, but it's definitely going to work on these other machines from the school. So, okay, fine, we've got Node.js installed. First step down, woohoo. Next step, it says you need to clone this repo and run npm to get required libraries. Whoa, okay, how do we do that? We have some code here. Or well, it's not necessarily code, we have some commands here. So if we go back over here, it says install node. Okay, we did that. Now it says open terminal, scary, uh-oh. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna do a search in Finder and open this little program called terminal. Oh my gosh, this is pretty scary here. But actually don't worry, it's really pretty simple. So terminal is an interface which just allows you, it's called command line, allows you to use text commands. As opposed to a graphical user interface, which is the windowing system. And it's pretty cool and it's pretty neat, and it's great to get comfortable using it. So to get a head start on that, we're going to go ahead and do that. So it says here, copy and paste the instructions line by line. So there are these three here. That's fine. So all we got to do is highlight this, and then I'm going to Command C, Apple C, I'm going to copy it, see what happens here. Okay, sweet, that was easy. That looks like everything was fine. And now I'm going to do this. So basically what git clone did is it basically just took this whole code repository from this GitHub website and moved it onto my computer. Cool. So we downloaded something. And now we're going to go into that folder. That's what this cd p5.jsosc does. And then we're going to use this command called npm install, which is just going to install that software for us. So we do this. And yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. That works. We see here it's giving us a few sort of warnings or indications. None of these are super critical, but you know, it does say, hey, you can do npm audit fix. And if you're feeling curious about this, you can just go ahead and do this here, and yeah, now you feel like a good completionist. Okay, sweet. So the final thing, we did these three. Right, that's great. The final thing on this node.js is it says start the node.js using the command node bridge.js. That's what it says right here. So all we're going to do is go back to our terminal window. I'm going to enter that in. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to press enter. And it's just going to hang open like this. That's exactly what we want it to do. We're actually done with that step now. We can close out of Gene Kogan's GitHub and node.js. We don't need that anymore, but we need to keep this terminal window open. What this is going to do is it's going to create a server here, create a bridge as it were, which is going to allow us to grab some connect data from another part of the machine and send it over to our browser, which is running the P5.js sketch. Okay, and now it says here, download this zip file. That looks like a bad link. Hopefully I'll fix that by the time you're doing this, but in case you can't find it, you just go over here to Files, and here's this thing called Prototyping the Body. I'm going to go ahead and download that. We want to allow that. Okay, it's a pretty small file. Okay, so here's the file. I'm going to move it on the desktop just for convenience sake. Okay, here's our file. If we go back over here, it says download the zip file. Navigate to the folder called P5.js body. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do that. It says open index.html. Wait, is that what it says? Yes, it says open the folder called index.html. That's a typo. It should be a file. If I open that, it says okay, there's a blue screen. Make sure you see a blue background load. If it does not, make sure you have completed the instructions above. Blue screen means good to go. Also note in your terminal window, it should report connection. So let's have a look at our terminal window. That says connection, great. So now we have P5.js set up to receive data from another application. Okay, and now maybe I'll explain this in class, but if you're watching this at home because you want to review, just to be clear, if we go and we look at this HTML file in something like Atom, we're going to see that this is not P5.js in the editor, but rather it's going to be P5.js, which is loading. It's going to be an HTML file which is loading a P5.js sketch. So you don't need to mess with this at all, but you are going to want to open this sketch.js. And inside here, you're going to find this is all your P5.js code. The difference is that it's just loading here in the browser on the website like you would use it if you were deploying this professionally. So we're leveling up here. Okay, so P5.js is working well. We have this blue screen, or at least we trust it's working well because these directions are telling us that everything is good. We have connection here. We have blue screen. Okay, fine. So now let's set up Connect. So we're going to assume that the Connect is plugged into your computer. We're going to assume that the Connect is also plugged into the wall because it needs an external power. And now we're going to need another application to grab the Connect data and send it over to P5.js. Now, if I could just do this inside of P5.js for you, believe me, I would. But this is, I think, probably the easiest way to get things going for the sake of this class, and also gets you sort of familiar with this more daisy chain style of working with applications, which is a bit common in new media and media art. So let's see what it says. It says, let's set up an application to grab Connect data from the hardware and send it over to our P5.js sketch. Again, that's going to be via this node.js thing here. So search for and open an application called processing. Remember, P5.js is based on processing, but processing is a Java library that's going to run inside of our machine, not inside of a browser. So what's going on here? Things just dimmed a bit. Okay, fine. So we have this open. That's cool. It says a new version is available. I'm going to say no. You can do that. Hopefully this is going to work regardless. And now it says okay, go to Sketch, import library. Now we have to add a couple libraries to processing to make this work. So I'm gonna look and see. All right, it says we need OSC P5 by Andrew Schlegel and OpenConnect for processing by Daniel Schiffman. So here's OpenConnect for processing. I'm just going to select this here and go down and hit install. It's pretty easy peasy. And it's going to go ahead and download and install that. looks like it's good to go here. That was pretty easy. And now we need that thing called OSC P5. It says Open Sound Control into implementation. So we'll talk a bit about what Open Sound Control does. Obviously, the Connect library is going to make sense. We need some software support to make that work. Okay. All right. So then it says restart processing afterwards. We went ahead and installed those. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and open processing again. And a good way to make sure that that worked is we can go and check the examples and make sure those examples are loading in processing. We're going to make sure that go to contributed libraries. Okay, sweet. So we have Open Connect for processing and OSC P5. So these are going to work. Now, if we want to check initially to see exactly if this is working or not, we can go ahead and try and open one of these sketches. We can run it, make sure we're grabbing the Connect OK. This is not in the instructions, just so you know. But yeah, okay, this is doing something. Oh, yep, and there's me. So more about that later. Basically, our sketch is going to look something like this one, but I've modified it so that it sends this data over OSC to P5JS. So we'll go ahead and stop this. We'll take some time to explain what exactly is going on in that sketch in a second. Right now, all we need to know is that our libraries are installed correctly, it's grabbing the Connect correctly, we're doing well. This is great. Next thing it says is navigate to the folder called protobody. All right, so if we go back to our Finder here, we go back one level, we're going to see that there's this other folder, and open up the sketch called protobody. It's going to be this thing. Now this is going to open up for us in processing, right? Now this is going to be basically a similar version to what you just saw. So I'm going to open this up. Now this is working correctly. That's great. So what I'd like to sort of demonstrate for you is how this works. And then we can show how this ports over to P5JS. So you have up arrow and down arrow, and you'll see down here it says up increase threshold, down decrease threshold. So this is grabbing the depth image from the Connect. And what's displayed in red here is going to be things which are above a depth threshold, or what's gray or what's white or what's black is what's behind them. So here you can see my hand. This is my hand and arm are now red, right? And I'm adjusting the threshold here as I go, and now it's only like my elbow, right? Now, okay, sweet. So that works. So this is a way to sort of calibrate the sensor to make sure we're only seeing what we want. Oh, this is great. We could do like kind of a chicken wing thing here. Great. So that's cool. What else is going on here? Well, there's this green dot. Now this is going to be an average, basically the average position of data that's coming through the sensor that's within this or above this threshold, this distance threshold, right? So basically, we're able to sort of foreground the kind of data that's interesting to us, and we can use this as a way to create kind of a cursor, right? So, man, I'm having fun with my elbow. Okay, so let's say that works. Now, you don't need to do anything with, now that this is running, that's great. You can put that away, and you may want to keep this out in case you need to prototype some stuff, or if you need to sort of calibrate things. But if you go back over to your P5 now, you'll see that I'm able to now, this guy has popped up here, this little green ball that says I'm P5JS, and as I move my elbow around, I'm moving this thing around. If this is working for you, great. You have done everything correctly. There's been no mess ups at all. So congratulations. If that's the case, then you get to move on to the assignment itself. If not, then please go back through these steps and make sure you have absolutely everything done in order. And if you're having any problems, I'd recommend maybe trying another Connect or trying another computer. There can be some problems maybe with versions or operating systems. But again, we've made sure that this works on DC computers with DC connects. So that's what we leave up for you. Now, the last thing that I'm going to leave you with here is, okay, what do I do next? So now that I have this cool distance thing coming in, cha-cha-cha, choo-choo-choo, or sorry, not distance, the position information from my elbow, or again, it doesn't really matter. It could be my hand too, right? It's whatever the sort of Connect sees. You'll also notice that if I get too close, it kind of, it mistakes it because of how the point cloud works. So there is like kind of an optimum distance here. So if I decrease the threshold, let's see if I can get my hand to work again. Oh wow. I broke it. Oh, there we go. So let's see. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Okay, there we go. So indeed, it could be my whole body if I stand up. I mean, I'm not feeling well, so I'm not going to get up and dance around, but I really encourage you to play with that. Okay, so what's the assignment now? Well, you're meant to be working with some for loops. That's something we'd like to see. The other part of the assignment is we'd like you to use some of that easing function in here to make your animations nice, make your animations nice and smooth. But basically, if we go back to this sketch.js, we're going to see, in fact, all of the information, or all of the information that we're seeing displayed here is going to be something which is inside the draw function. Right? So if you're kind of curious about what exactly is going on in terms of like the networking that's grabbing the data, you can look in these functions down here. Oops. It's receiving something called OSC, which is a way to communicate between programs, and it's grabbing this thing that we called centroid, which is the center of activity, and assigning that to these variables called x and y. So we can use this x and y as basically x and y's for any number of animations, right? So anything that you're going to want to do here, you're going to want to do inside draw, and you can treat this like a totally normal draw here. So I've just made a couple changes. I'm not going to go through this whole assignment here, but what I want to draw to your attention is the way to refresh this so that you can see what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to go and save. I hit save now on my sketch.js. So now, what the heck, right? This isn't like P5.js editor. It's not going to update what's going on here. So what happens? I'm going to try and refresh this, and is it working? You know, it doesn't seem like it's quite working. What's going on? So if we go back to our terminal, it says, oh, it looks like we have an error here. So just remember when you're doing this, every time you want to go and refresh, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but that's okay. You can get used to it. You want to stop this processing sketch, restart your node bridge.js, make this connection, restart this here, got a connection again, and then start this. And we'll see this start working again. Okay. No, it doesn't like square, I guess. Rect. Let's try that again. Oh, broke it again. That's fine. We can just go back up here. Oh, let's go and stop our processing. Stop. Restart. That's good. Refresh. That's good. Restart. Oh, ta-da. And here we go. Now it's doing something with that. Okay, so that's how you go and refresh these things. Yeah, okay, you all should be set.